So last night I started the Dance with Dragons prologue, one of my favorite prologues of the first five books, and I kind of just wanted to go over some lines, some moments I really loved, and I think might be important for the future of this book. Before I do that, though, I want to point out a line in the chronologically Cavil, or whatever it is, where George says this: "Next up, the winds of winter, wherein I hope everybody will be shivering together once again." George R. R. Martin, April 2011. And now the first thing that I want to point out as far as the actual story is on page 12, and it is when Varamir mentions something about John. Let me see. There we go. Varamir found himself hating the beastling boy as well. He had known what snow was the moment he saw the great white direwolf stalking silent at his side. One skin changer can always sense another. Man should let me take the direwolf. There would be a second life. That would be a second life worthy of a king. And that line in particular, I think, is going to be very important for the future of Jon Snow's character, because it's been heavily theorized for over a decade that Jon Snow warged into Ghost, and I think that makes perfect sense. But what makes this way more interesting is the line, "That would be a second life worthy of a king." That tells me that somehow, some way, Jon might become the king or the lord of something when he comes back. And this is really interesting because the last time we saw Jon Snow, he was turning down being a lord. So I wonder if somehow his bite, his hunger for being a lord, for being king, is going to come back, and he might make a push south to be the king of Westeros. Now, George R. R. Martin's prologues are very important for the entire book that they are in. In every book that I've read them in, they end up referencing something or setting something up that must be paid off at the end of the book or later in the story. And the theme of this prologue is skin changing, it is warging, but not only that, it is the dangers of having such a power. Varamir talks of all of these people, all of these things, all these bits of humanity that he has lost along the way of being a skin changer. He references his teacher Hagen constantly, who is this man who taught him everything he knows, but Varamir ends up betraying him in the worst way possible by taking the lessons he taught him and becoming an abomination. And the other character that I was constantly thinking about while reading this prologue was actually Bran Stark. Bran is a skin changer like Varamir, but the very interesting thing is at the end of this prologue, Varamir tries to take the body of a woman who was trying to help him. And in doing so, she ends up fighting back, and it doesn't go well. I mean, she ends up dying. It's pretty brutal, and he is not successful in taking her body. Now, Bran was able to take control of Hodor's body very frequently, basically whenever he wanted. And Hodor was a much larger man, much more full of life than this woman probably was, because she was older, in the snow, probably not completely well. So that tells me as a reader that Bran's skin changing is on a whole nother level. And at this point in the story, I know that Bran is going towards Brandon Rivers, he's going towards Bloodraven, who's probably going to enhance his powers in one way or another. So all I keep thinking about is what is going to happen to our young, innocent, cute child when he gets far up north. He's going to meet someone who could tear his world down and apart by making him the strongest version of himself in possibly the worst way possible. All in all, I really did enjoy this prologue. It was really terrifying. There was a lot of really messed up imagery, a lot of things I really wasn't happy reading, but that is A Song of Ice and Fire, that is George R. R. Martin's work, and I did enjoy the prologue for what it was. As far as its relevance later in the story, I can already see how important this prologue is. I wish more people talked about this. Everyone talks about the prologue of Game of Thrones, the prologue for Clash of Kings, both of which are great, but I think this one is up there as well, and I wish more people gave love to this prologue because I thought it was really good. Uh, at that point, that is my review for the prologue. I'm going to be making a review on Tyrion 1 tomorrow, and I will be posting this review on YouTube and making more reviews on YouTube. So if you watch this far, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.